Chris Paul posted on his social media saying, quote, "I just found out I'm being sent home."
Chris Paul and his leadership style clashed with the Clippers.
How the hell do you do this to Chris Paul? I don't give a damn what's going on with the team. They're trash right now. We understand that.
2:40 in the morning, that's when Chris Paul found out that his career as a Clipper was over for the second time. Not through a meeting, not through a phone call, not even through his coach looking him in the eye and telling him man to man. No, a 40-year-old, 12-time All-Star, future first ballot Hall of Famer found out he was being kicked off the team through a text while he was in a hotel room in Atlanta in the middle of a road trip. And what did he do? He hopped on Instagram at 2:40 a.m. and posted 7 words that sent shockwaves throughout the entire NBA. Just found out I'm being sent home. Peace sign emoji. That's it. That's how one of the greatest point guards in NBA history found out that his homecoming was over. Now look, I know what you guys might be thinking.
Mike, he's 40 years old. He's washed. He's averaging career lows. Maybe it was time.
You know what? We're going to talk about that. But here's what I need you to understand first, because what I'm about to show you, it's going to change the way you look at this entire situation. This is exactly what the Clippers do to their legends, to the best players to ever don the Clipper uniform in their franchise's history. Same organization, same front office, same Lawrence Frank, same playbook. And by the time we're done here, you're going to see that this isn't just about Chris Paul. This is about a franchise that has made a habit out of disrespecting its legends. And before we get to that, make sure you subscribe and turn on our notifications. We're giving away a jersey of your choice. All you have to do to enter is subscribe and turn on our notifications on this channel. We're doing the same giveaway on Instagram. Just follow me on Instagram at TheFlightMike and turn on my notifications there, and just comment what jersey you want in the comment section down below. Now that we get all that out of the way, cue the intro. Over the past week, we made over $1,000 on Prize Picks. Now, I'm going to give you some picks for tonight's huge matchup. But first, to sign up for Prize Picks, make sure you use my promo code microphone to get $50 when you make a play of $5 or more. For tonight's games, I have Jimmy Butler attempting less than 9.5 free throws. I got Josh Minot going over 11.5 points plus rebounds. And with Luka Doncic out, I expect Austin Reeves to easily clear his line of 28.5 points. I'm putting down $50 to potentially make $225. Get additional plays on my Instagram at TheFlightMike and in my Discord server, which you can join by clicking that WAP link in the description down below. We've been profiting every single day in that WAP community, and thank you Prize Picks for sponsoring today's video. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? I apologize if my voice sounds a little wonky, guys. I'm getting a little sick. Let me take you back to where this story truly begins. This past summer, CP3 just finished the season with the San Antonio Spurs. And listen to this, at 39 years old, this man started in all 82 games. Every single one. He averaged 7.4 assists per game, which was 7th in the entire league. His on-off differential was plus 9 points per 100 possessions, which put him in the 92nd percentile league-wide. At 39 years old, that's not washed. That's still productive. So when he signed with the Clippers in July on a 1-year, $3.6 million deal, this was supposed to be his victory lap, his farewell tour, the franchise's greatest player ever coming back to where it all started. And CP3, he was all in. At his introductory press conference, he said, "If I'm really honest, I wanted to get back and play here by any means necessary. I didn't even care what the team looked like. I just wanted to be home, be here with the Clippers." He said by any means necessary, and he called the Clippers his home. He didn't even care what the team looked like, which is saying something considering the fact that at the time that CP3 signed with the Clippers, they actually were supposed to be contenders for this year's NBA season. I know it sounds crazy now, but this team went all in. They traded Norman Powell for John Collins, they signed Bradley Beal, they signed Brooke Lopez, but that's besides the point. This man wanted to retire a Clipper so badly that he took a minimum contract just to make it happen. And on November 22nd, before a game in Charlotte, his home home state, CP3 made it official. He announced that this would be his final season. He posted on social media, "What a ride, still so much left. Grateful for this last one." He was emotional. He was ready. The man was about to go out on his own terms. 6 days later, on November 28th at Intuit Dome, the Clippers played a tribute video for him during the game against the Grizzlies, and the whole arena was feeling it. And then, 5 days after that tribute video, they kicked him to the curb in the middle of the night. And this is where things get really interesting, and I promise you, it's way worse than you think. Like I said earlier in this video, the Clippers are 5-16 right now, the second worst record in the Western Conference. They've lost 14 of their last 16 games. Bradley Beal, one of their big offseason signings, went down with a season-ending hip injury in early November. I don't want to branch off on how teams need to start letting the Clippers win. Like, honestly, just bench your best players against the Clippers just so the OKC Thunder don't get a top 3 draft pick. But what I want to convey here is things were really bad. I get it. But check this out. According to Shams from ESPN, Chris Paul and his head coach Ty Lue, they weren't even on speaking terms for several weeks. Let that marinate for a second. The coach and one of the greatest point guards in NBA history on the same team, literally not speaking to each other. But wait, it gets worse. Chris B. Haynes, another NBA insider, dropped this bomb. Weeks ago, CP3 actually requested to have a meeting with his head coach Ty Lue. He wanted to sit down and discuss allegations that he was being a negative presence on the team. CP3 heard people were talking behind his back, so what did he do? He tried to handle it like a professional, and he asked for a meeting. And Tyronn Lue's response? He refused to meet with him, a 12-time All-Star, a future Hall of Famer, a guy who's been in this league for 21 years, asks his coach for a conversation, and the coach says no. So instead of handling this like professionals, Lawrence Frank, the team's president of basketball operations, had to fly to Atlanta to deliver the news in person that CP3 was being sent home. Like he's serving legal papers or something. I mean, the man literally pulled up to CP3 and said, "You got served," and sent him home. Now let me ask you something. What exactly was CP3 doing that was so terrible? Well, according to Shams, this is the official story. CP3 has been vocal in holding management, coaches, and players accountable, which the team felt became disruptive. Okay, hold on. Let me get this straight. Your team is 5-16, one of the worst records in the entire league. And the guy that's trying to hold people accountable, the guy who's trying to prevent the OKC Thunder from getting a top 3 pick in this year's NBA draft, he's the problem? I really wonder if Steve Ballmer has some sort of shady deal going on with Clay Bennett. Because we're talking about a guy who's been to 12 All-Star games, made 11 All-NBA teams, is second all-time in assists behind only John Stockton, and he's the one being disruptive? No, something doesn't add up here. And CP3 knew it too. A few days before all this went down, he posted something cryptic on his Instagram. Just a screenshot of the dictionary definition of one word: leeway. You know what leeway means? Freedom, margin, room to maneuver. What CP3 was really saying is there's no accountability on this team. Everybody else is getting a free pass except for him. Stephen A. Smith absolutely went off about this on First Take. Listen to what he said.
To do this to CP3, to do this to him, to let you on a road trip and you send him home because he probably looked you in the face and told you that the organization is being ran like trash right now. The Clippers look like hot garbage.
And it's not just Stephen A. Smith. Look at what Lou Williams had to say about the situation.
CP was holding people accountable, from players to staff, from coaching staff up to the front office.
And here's the thing, and this is what I really need y'all to understand, because this is where it all comes together. This isn't even the first time the Los Angeles Clippers have done this. Let me talk to you about Blake Griffin, because what they did to him is almost identical as to what they did to CP3. In the summer of 2017, Blake Griffin was a free agent. He could have gone anywhere. Teams were lining up, but you know what he wanted? He wanted to stay in LA. He wanted to be a Clipper for life. So he sat down with Steve Ballmer, Doc Rivers, and the entire Clippers front office at Staples Center. They had a 2-hour celebration of his career. 2 hours telling him how much he meant to the franchise. And at the end of that meeting, Blake stood up and told everyone in that room that I want my legacy to be a Clipper. And they sold him on being the greatest Clipper of all time. Then he signed a 5-year, $171 million contract contract to stay in LA. He committed his entire prime to this franchise. And you know what happened next? 7 months later, they traded him to Detroit. 7 months, not even a full season. The guy committed his future to the franchise. He said he wanted his legacy to be a Clipper, and they shipped him off to the Pistons like he was nothing. Arash Markazi said it perfectly on Twitter. Blake Griffin wanted to retire a Clipper. 7 months after signing a 5-year, $171 million contract to stay in LA, the Clippers traded him to Detroit. CP3 wanted to retire a Clipper. 5 months after coming home, the Clippers released him in the middle of the night. You see the pattern now? But hold on, we're not done, because Blake and CP3, they're not the only ones that have gone through this. Let me run through the list really quickly, because the way the Clippers do their players is absolutely insane. In February of 2022, the Clippers traded Eric Bledsoe after just half a season. Do you know what happened after that? He never played another NBA game. Russell Westbrook in 2024, this man picked up his player option, said he wanted to continue his career in his hometown, but they traded him to Utah anyway. PJ Tucker, they sent him home in February of 2024, then again in the preseason this year. You know what he posted on the Instagram after the trade deadline? All this is a joke. They eventually traded him too. You see what I'm saying? Blake Griffin, Chris Paul, Eric Bledsoe, Russell Westbrook, PJ Tucker. The Clippers don't just move on from players, they humiliate them. They make promises, they break them, they collect veterans, and then throw them away the second things get tough. This is who they are. But before we talk about what's next for CP3, I need to make sure we're all on the same page about who we're actually talking about here. Because the way the Clippers are treating him, you'd think that he's some random end of the bench guy. Let me run these numbers for you, because I don't think people fully understand who Chris Paul is. So we're going to show him some proper respect on this YouTube channel. 12-time All-Star, 11-time All-NBA selection, 9-time All-Defensive Team as a point guard who's 6 feet tall, mind you. A member of the NBA's 75th anniversary team, led the league in assists 5 times, led the league in steals 6 times, which is a record, second all-time in career assists with 12,532. Only John Stockton has more. Second all-time in steals with 2,727. Again, only Stockton has more. The first player in NBA history to score 20,000 points and record 10,000 assists. 2 Olympic gold medals with Team USA. The president of the Players Association for 8 years. Career averages of 16.8 points, 9.2 assists, 4.4 rebounds, and 2 steals per game, shooting 47% from the field. During his first 6 years with the Clippers, from 2011 to 2017, he made the All-NBA team every single year. He made the All-Star team every single year. He finished in the top 7 of MVP voting 5 times. The Clippers were a laughingstock before Chris Paul, and they went from a laughingstock to legitimate contenders because of him. This is a first ballot Hall of Famer. This is arguably the greatest pure point guard of his generation, and the Clippers just threw him out like yesterday's trash. This man was supposed to have his jersey retired by the Clippers someday. He spent his prime years with this team. So the question becomes, where does CP3 go from here? As of right now, CP3 is technically still on the Clippers roster. They can't just waive him because they're so close to the first apron hard cap that they can't even sign a veteran minimum player until January, so they're gonna look for a trade. December 15th is when he becomes trade eligible. So where could he end up? Let me break down some of the options. Option 1 is the Los Angeles Lakers. This would be poetic. CP3 and LeBron James have been close friends forever. He also has a relationship with JJ Redick from their time together. Plus, he wants to stay near his family in Southern California. The Lakers have an open roster spot but can't sign a 15th player until January. This could be a storybook ending. CP3 and LeBron finally on the same team, chasing a ring together. Option 2 is the OKC Thunder. This is a sentimental choice. CP3 mentored Shai Gilgeous-Alexander when he was in OKC. He was at the 2025 NBA Finals cheering for SGA and the Thunder when they won the championship. What better way to end your career than finally getting sharing that ring with a team that you helped build. The problem is that they have a full roster and no real minutes to spare, so CP3 would strictly just be there for the vibes. Option 3 is the Phoenix Suns. CP3 led them to the finals in 2021. He has chemistry with Devin Booker. They have an open roster spot, but they've been surprisingly good this season with Colin Gillespie stepping up big, so there might not be enough minutes available. And option 4 is the Houston Rockets. Fred VanVleet went down with a season-ending ACL injury. They need point guard help. CP3 has history there from the 2018 Western Conference Finals run, where they were up 3-2 on the Warriors before his hamstring gave out. This could be a chance for closure, but here's the sad reality. At 40 years old, averaging just 2.9 points and 3.3 assists in 14 minutes this season, it's possible that he's already played his final NBA game, and that's a tough pill to swallow. Lawrence Frank put out a statement. Here's what he said. "We are parting ways with Chris, and he will no longer be with the team. We will work with him on the next step of his career. Chris is a legendary Clipper who has had a historic career, and I want to make one thing very clear. No one is blaming Chris for our underperformance. I accept responsibility for the record we have right now." Bro, you know what? Just save it, because the actions speak louder than any press release. If you really respected Chris Paul, you would have at least had a conversation with him. If you really valued his legacy, you wouldn't have released him in the middle of the night while the team was on a road trip. If you really believed he was a legendary Clipper, you would have let him finish his final season with the organization. But you didn't, because this is who the Clippers are. They did it to Blake Griffin, they did it to Russell Westbrook, they did it to PJ Tucker, and now they've done it to Chris Paul. At some point, you gotta stop blaming the players and start looking at the organization. Chris Paul deserves better. His career deserves a proper ending, and I really hope some team out there steps up and gives him the farewell tour he earned over 21 years in the league. But honestly, I'm not surprised that the Los Angeles Clippers have done this. I mean, like 50% of my content for the 2025 NBA season pertains to how trash of an organization the Clippers are. Whether it's the allegations of Steve Ballmer paying Kawhi Leonard under the table, or Kawhi Leonard quite literally ruining the NBA by demanding the Clippers trade for Paul George only for them to be one of the worst teams in the NBA this year and give up their draft pick to the OKC Thunder, all the way to now with this Chris Paul stuff. Now, if you haven't seen those videos, I'm going to leave a link to it in the end screen so you guys could go check it out, because the Clippers have been an absolute dumpster fire this year. And aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.